Hey friends, welcome back. We have been talking about fables, and today we're going to change it up a little bit and we're going to talk about folk tales. Okay, now a folk tale is a story that someone has made up a long time ago and it's been told again and again and again. So it was probably like first told by a family member, and then they tell a friend, and then the friend tells somebody, and then later they write it down for people to enjoy. So we're going to talk about folk tales today, and today's story is called The Little Half Chick, and it's a Spanish folk tale. Now, my Spanish is very rusty, so bear with me, but this little chick's name is Medio Pollito. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see. Okay, little half chick, medio pollito. But before we start talking about our little half chick, let's talk about our vocabulary words. Abandoned, given up completely. I abandoned the idea of going to Disney World for my birthday. Well, COVID has kind of stopped a lot of things that we can't do for our birthdays, hasn't it? A brood is a family of young animals or children, particularly birds hatched at one time. Our entire brood will be in town for Thanksgiving. So large family is one thing. Stream, a small body of water or running water, a brook. Emily found several small fish in the stream near her house. Stubborn, refusing to change your mind. Even though there are a lot of other options, my little sister is stubborn and only eats peanut butter and jelly. Waste, to use up carelessly or to fail to use something wisely or properly. Laura did not want to waste her paint, so she made sure that the paint jars were closed tightly so they wouldn't spill. Okay, now let's look at some pictures before we begin our story. Okay, look at this picture. What do you think this is? This is a weather vane, okay? And you might see these on top of buildings like farms, especially in farms. Sometimes you'll see them in old buildings and houses. And we use weather vanes to tell which way the wind is blowing. So this little arrow right here will point whichever way the wind is blowing. And if you'll look down here, you have the ES, I think that's supposed to be a W, and then the N, and that stands for north, south, east, and west. So whichever way this is pointing is which way the wind is blowing, okay? Now, let's see, what do you notice in here? Okay, you notice this little baby chick right here? That is medio pollito, okay? That's the little baby chick. So we're gonna talk about the little baby chick. Now this mellito, I can't say it, medio pollito, there we go, is Spanish for little half chick. And this folk tale may have been first told in the country of Spain, okay? And we've seen where Spain is. Oh, friends, I might have to hold on a second here. Got a fire drill going. Sorry, friends, we had a little fire drill real quick. I had to stop. Okay, so we were talking about little half chick, medio pollito, and we were talking about how the story originated in Spain. Okay, so I want you to look at the picture, and you'll notice that the medio pollito, however you say it, and the mama hen are sitting there, and all the little other baby chicks are there, and they're all talking. What do you think that mama and the baby chicks are talking about? So I want you to make a prediction about what you think they're talking about. And then I want you to listen to our story. Our story is a little bit longer today because it's a folk tale. And I want you to see if your prediction comes true, okay? All right, so listen carefully. Once there was a hen who had a large brood or family of little chicks. They were all fine, plump little birds, except the youngest. He was quite unlike his brothers. He looked as if he had been cut right in half. All of his brothers and sisters had 2 wings and 2 legs and 2 eyes, but he only had 1 wing, 1 leg, and 1 eye. And he had only half a head and half a beak. His mother shook her head sadly as she looked at him. Poor thing, she said, he's only a half chick. The mother hen called her youngest chick medio pollito, which is Spanish for half chick. She thought that he would never be able to take care of himself. She decided that she would have to keep him at home and look after him. But Medio Pollito had a different idea. Medio Pollito turned out to be very stubborn. He wouldn't change how things went. An independent little chick. Even though his brothers and sisters did just what they were told to do, Medio Pollito did not. When his mother called for him to come back to the chicken house, he hid in the cornfield. Sometimes he pretended that he could hear her because, of course, he only had one ear. The older he became, the more willful he became. He would not listen to his mother, and he was often rude to his brothers and sisters, even though they were always extra nice to him. So, was he a kind or nice chick? Not really. He was kind of rude, wasn't he? Didn't listen, didn't do what he was supposed to. One day, Medio Pollito strutted up to his mother and made an announcement. I am tired of life in this dull barnyard. I'm going to Madrid to dine or have dinner with the king. Madrid is a city in Spain. You think this is a good idea? See, keep reading. Madrid, exclaimed his mother. Why, that is a long journey, even for a grown-up. You aren't old enough to go to Madrid yet. Wait a bit. When you're a little older, we will go to the city together. But Medio Pollito had made up his mind. He would not listen to his mother or his brothers and sisters, all of whom pleaded with him to stay. I'm going to Madrid to dine with the king, he declared, and when I get there, I will make my fortune and live in a big house. Perhaps I will even invite the rest of you to pay me a short visit sometimes. Okay. With that, he turned and hopped off on his one leg. He's not being very nice, is he? All right, let's keep reading, see what happens. Medio Pollito hopped on until he came to a little stream of water that was almost choked with weeds. So, stream is a small body of running water, and when it's full of weeds, it's hard to move. So that's what they mean by choked with weeds. Oh, Medio Pollito, the stream called out, please help me by pulling some of these weeds so I can flow freely. Do you think Medio Pollito will help the stream? Help you, exclaimed Medio Pollito, tossing his head and shaking the few feathers in his tail. Do you think I have time to waste to do that sort of thing? Do you think he's being very nice and helping? No. Why does he say he's going to waste his time by doing that? Because he's going to the king, right? He didn't have time to do this. Help yourself and don't bother busy travelers like me. I'm off to Madrid to dine with the king. And away he hopped. So he didn't help the stream. A little later, Medio Pollito came to an abandoned fire that some campers left burning in the woods, so it was left behind. Oh, Medio Pollito, the fire said, please toss some sticks on me so I won't burn out. So first he meets the water. The water asks him to pull some weeds, and he says no. What has the fire asked him to do? He wants more sticks so he can burn more, right? Okay. What do you think he's going to do? Let's keep reading. Pooh, said Medio Pollito. Do you think I have time to waste to do that sort of thing? I'm off to Madrid to dine with the king. And away he hopped. Didn't help the fire either. All right. See what happens next. Oh boy. The next morning, he was nearing Madrid. Medio Pollito came upon a large chestnut tree in which the wind had gotten tangled up. Oh, Medio Pollito, said the wind, won't you climb up here and help me get myself untangled? Okay. So he met the water first, or the stream. The stream asked him to help pull the weeds so he could flow freely. He didn't help him there. Then he meets the fire, and the fire asked him to put more sticks on so he could burn longer. He didn't help there either. Now he's met the wind, and the wind has asked him to help him get untangled. Do you think maybe he'll help the wind? All right, let's keep reading and find out. It's your own fault for going up so high up there, said Medio Pollito. And besides, I don't have time to waste to do that sort of thing. I'm off to Madrid to dine with the king. And away he hopped. When he entered the city, Medio Pollito saw the beautiful royal palace. He was so excited to meet the king, he hopped right into the courtyard with invitation. The king's cook spotted him and yelled, "You will make a nice addition to the king's dinner." So is the cook inviting him to dine with the king or have dinner with the king? The cook scooped up Medio Pollito in his hand. He took him back to the kitchen and tossed him into a pot of water. He set the pot on the stove. What do you think's going to happen? I think he's going to become the king's dinner. Oh boy. Medio Pollito was getting very wet. "Oh, water," he cried. "Don't soak me like this." But the water replied, "You would not help me when I was a little stream choking with weeds. So why should I help you now?" Okay, so he's asked the water for help. Does the water help? Nope. Why not? She didn't help him. Then the fire on the stove began to heat the water. Medio Pollito felt very hot. "Oh, fire," he cried, "don't cook me like this." But the fire replied, "You would not help me when I was about to burn out. So why should I help you now?" So now he's asked fire for help, but he didn't help either. Fire got hotter and hotter. The heat was so unbearable that Medio Pollito grew more and more desperate. So he's about to lose hope. He thinks, "Oh, I can't do anything else." Just then, the cook raised the lid of the pot to see if the soup was ready. "What's this?" said the cook. "I have overcooked the chicken. He is blackened and burnt to a crisp. I can't serve this to a king." The cook grabbed Medio Pollito and threw him out of the kitchen window. With a gust, the wind caught him and carried him away so fast he could hardly breathe. So, did Medio Pollito have dinner with the king? Nope. "Oh, wind," Medio Pollito cried, "don't push me around like this. Please set me down." But the wind replied, "You would not help me when I was caught in a tree. So why should I help you now?" So he asked the water for help, he asked the fire for help, and now he's asked the wind for help. Did any of them help him? No. Why didn't they help him? Because he didn't help them. And with that, the wind lifted Medio Pollito up to the air to the top of the building and left him stuck atop a cupola. Now, a cupola is a small structure on the highest point of a building. So this right here, let me try to get my mouse to work here. This right here is the cupola. Okay, so she set him down up there. And that is where you find Medio Pollito to this very day. If you go to Madrid and look for the tallest church in town, you will see a black weather vane in the shape of half a chicken turning in the wind. That is Medio Pollito, the chick who would not help others. Now he stays there and helps everyone by showing them which way the wind is blowing forever. So how does Medio Pollito show that he is sorry for not helping others? He now tells people which way the wind is blowing. Okay, so let's talk about our questions to the story, okay? So was your prediction correct about Medio Pollito? What were they talking about? I never would have thought this. All right, what does Medio Pollito decide to do at the beginning of the story? He wants to go to Spain and meet the king. Where does the story take place? In Spain. What three things does Medio Pollito meet along the way? The stream, fire, and the wind. What did they ask Medio Pollito to do? They want help. Remember, the stream wanted him to pull the weed, The fire wanted more wood and the wind needed to be untangled, but he didn't help him, did he? So does he help him? Nope. Why? Because he's too much free. He doesn't want to waste his time. All right. What happens when Medio Pollito reaches the palace to the king? The cook throws him into a pot. He's going to become the king's soup. Uh-oh. So who does Medio Pollito ask for help? The water, the fire, and the wind. Did any of them help? Nope. Why not? Because they didn't help, or he didn't help them. So what happens to Medio Pollito at the end of the story? Wind picks him up, puts him on top of the cupola, and that's where he's staying forever. Okay, so folk tales teach us a lesson just like a fable does. Does this folk tale teach you a lesson? Yep. What did it teach? You should help others because one day you might need their help. All right, could this story really happen or is it make-believe? It's make-believe because we know that fire, water, and wind can't really talk, can it? All right, friends. Now into Google Classroom, go answer my questions, turn them into me, and then I will see you on our next story. Goodbye, friends.